Ambitions alone doesn't work. Missions do. And one such mission is Indian startups. Good evening, one and all. What, present in the meeting, this is Sushank Verma and Nitesh. Before I go further with anything, let me present a quick overview of what Indian startup is all about. Indian startup, a 30,000 plus member community, strives to build the startup ecosystem with necessary talent, education, mentors, incubators, and accelerators, with connections to funding agencies. Its aim is to promote entrepreneurship, construct entrepreneurial competencies at scale, and strengthen early phase support for the startups. Introducing the speakers of today's session, Mr. Ravi Shekhar Singh. He is passionate and diligent professional who skipped IIT to pursue his dreams, building an organization that will help Indian startups and SMEs to have a global reach and valuation through right branding and promotion. He founded Cravants Media Private Limited, popularly known as Cravants, a creative consultancy which is in less than 3 years it ran to grew its members from 5 to 24 and bagged major projects from Vodafone, Cambridge, Trident Group, Clove Dentals, Briggs, Tamaron, and numerous other MNCs and SMEs. Apart from this, now Craven is handling government projects for state tourism, PSUs, and political promotions. Apart from Ravi, we have Prashant Nair. Mr. Prashant is an MBA from University of Huddersfield and has past experience with global brands like P&G, Volkswagen. He is an expert in public relations and branding strategy and has guided many companies through his systematic focused approach. Prashant has played a key role in boosting the presence of Cravants through his excellent business development capabilities and in handling all major clients and business aspects of Cravants. Moving on further to our topic, the branding dilemma. In this session, we'll cover the following topics: myths about brandings. We live in a world which is surrounded by the smoke of myths. Many such revolve around branding too. We need to take care and avoid them to inculcate a good branding culture. Now, what actually branding is? In a layman's terms, it is just occupying the mind space of the consumers. Moving on to the next topic, scope of branding. Branding brings them a certain level of assurance, helps to identify the source of manufacture of the product, and last but not the least, helps organization to retain the existing customers. And we all know the products can be copied, but a brand cannot. Then importance of branding. There are certain very important and undeniable benefits of branding, like it improves recognition, creates trust, and supports advertising. Then we'll walk through some examples of excellent branding. When it comes to excellent branding, we have Apple. The brand is known to be representative of way of life, leading its customer to say proudly, "I'm a Mac." If you don't have an iPhone, well, you don't have an iPhone. And our own Kerala's tourism, God's own country. Well, I can go on and on with the examples, but we have a time constraint. I would like to wrap it up by moving on to our branding experts, Mr. Ravi Shekhar.
Hi everyone. So I'm not able to see all of them, right? I don't know why. So I'm Ravi Shekhar Singh, and he's Mr. Prashant.
Hi guys.
So he will be talking about us, Cravants. He will introduce us. So, and then we can start about branding, right? Please.
Right. Thanks for such a good introduction, first of all. Right. So, Cravants, as the word suggests, we as a branding and advertising firm, our name also has a very good etymological importance. I mean, we come from two words, craving ants. So that's how Cravants come together. So we are a firm that that builds on brands right from the stage of incubating it from logo to design elements to advertising, promotion to accentuating its presence through promotion. So everything has been done by Cravants. So I would not like to take much of your time because anyways I think we have taken 30 odd minutes fixing some trouble here. So let's just straight away move to the topic. that there are a lot of myths that surround branding. So I think Ravi would like to throw some light on that.
So we all have heard about the term branding. So what is branding basically? I'll come to that, but before that, I'd like to introduce you to the myths of branding. The first myth, according to us, is branding is advertising. People think that branding is advertising, but there's a huge difference between branding, advertising, marketing, and public relations. There are four pillars of any brand: branding, marketing, advertising, and public relations. I'll just give you an example through this. So when it comes to advertising, first let's take marketing. So marketing is when I'm going to say, Prashant, that I'm a very good writer.
Right.
So this is marketing.
Right.
I'm telling him once that I'm a good writer.
Right.
Then it comes to PR. A third person steps in and he says that Ravi is a very good writer. So that is PR. Then it comes to advertising. Advertising is repetitive. It's a repetitive form of marketing. So when I again say Prashant that I'm a very good writer through different modes. Like I'm speaking, I'm mailing him that I'm a very good writer. I'm texting him that I'm a very good writer. So that is advertising. But top of all, this is branding. Branding is when Prashant says to me that you are a very good writer.
Right.
So that is the impact of branding. And so branding is very important for all the brands. Now, the next thing is the secret. People say that there is a secret formula to branding, or there are quick ways to branding.
Right.
That is not possible, because branding is an exercise that a company gets through time. It takes time to build your brand. It takes time. We have seen very good brands. We have seen Apple. We have seen Samsung, and all they are good brands. But it took time for them to establish themselves. It was not easy. It was not an easy journey, because branding has no foreseeable end. It's ongoing. It's like it should be regular. The consistency, the uniformity in brand positioning should be regular. And then again, there is one more myth that more you spend on branding, the better branding is. Well, money obviously plays a good role in branding and publicizing and advertising and marketing. Branding has a very good role. But is it all? Is money everything for branding? Well, I don't think so. And my colleague, even he won't agree to this. So the thing when it comes to more money with branding, so let's take an analogy. So this is the method we are going to introduce to you. That let's take brand as people, a person.
Right.
Like Steve Jobs in himself was a brand. Amitabh Bachchan or Rajnikant, they are all brands. So the brands are also like people. So we create people. We give them good look, good face, good nature, good presentation capabilities, and a very good aura around them. So money obviously helps in branding. So if you don't have a good face, you go for nose resurrection, you go for Botox. So you start looking good. So brand starts looking good, but there's the term branding. Branding is a very different thing other than looks. It is about uniformity in your communication with the public.
Also, we can also add here that it's also important to understand where branding comes in the whole chain. But most people think that there's there's definitely an overlap between branding, advertising, and PR. But people often take advertising to be branding. That there was a couple of weeks ago, I met a real estate developer, and he said, I'll have a hoarding in Gurgaon, and I think that's branding for me. So, in real estate, people don't have much dearth of money, as far as I know them, for so many years. So, I think that there is that disconnect with branding there. Because branding is not all about spending money. Because I've seen brands grow, via shoestring budgets and via bootstrapping, so to speak. But it's all about logically implementing your plans. not just not just pomp and posh show. Like having a hoarding somewhere, or that comes later. Basically, branding starts very early. So I'll just allow Ravi to complete the myths.
Then another myth that is prevalent is that spending on a logo is worthless. So people don't understand what is logo. They think it's just an icon made out of graphic designing, and it can be anything. It can be anything, but it's not true. So logo helps define a brand.
It does.
Logo is the face of that person. If we take brand as a person, so the face of that person is logo. So will you be able to recognize the person without a face? No.
Right.
So they are all same. If we don't have different facial features and different eyes, different nose, so we won't be able to recognize. So branding, the first step to branding is logo. Logo is not all branding.
I'd like to add here that why is logo so important also, because right now the current market scenario is that we are cluttered with a lot of brands. India being the third world, so-called the third world, who has got a lot of businesses coming in now, and investors are looking on a lot of startups. We invest in a lot of startups. So we have got no dearth of startups, and we have got no dearth of identities in the market. So in order to create the differentiator, so to speak, among the crowd, which is already there in the market, it's very important to have a distinct identity of your own. That can come via a logo, via your service differentiation, via product differentiation. So these things go hand in hand. So that's why Ravi was emphasizing on the fact that logo is
very important. It's very important. Another myth is that branding is only for consumer B2C companies.
Right.
So, but
this is a very major prevalent one in India for.
So it's as much as important for B2B companies, because so I will take an example in this. So have you heard about Corning Gorilla Glass?
Yeah.
So it's a glass on your phone. The screen of the phone is made of Corning Gorilla Glass.
Right.
So now they are B2B. They provide glasses to Samsung. They provide glasses to Apple. So they don't need branding. Obviously, people think that why would they need branding? Because Samsung is anyways going to take all the products from them, what they have produced and everything.
Right.
So, but that is not the truth. Gorilla has branded itself very well. So, to the extent that people these days, go looking for Gorilla Glass. If a smartphone doesn't have a Gorilla Glass, so they reject that phone. It is prevalent. Right. People try to buy a phone with Gorilla Glass.
Right.
Because there is a trust.
Right.
That if there is a Gorilla Glass, the phone won't break, or it is scratch proof, or it is scratch resistant, whatever it is.
Right.
So, in the same way, Accenture, you can take Accenture as Deloitte as an example, because they are also a B2B company, but they have branded themselves very well, because at least the employees who come to Deloitte, they go on their brand value.
Right.
Employees who go to Infosys, they go on the brand value.
Right.
So branding is again very important for B2B companies.
Also, if you remember the other day, we went to the expo and we met a lot of these companies, basically, who came for B2B interactions. So that's, I think I'm talking about Cosmotech, if I'm not wrong. Cosmotech. Right. So we met a lot of these B2B companies, and all of them had this question on their, what is a branding company doing at an expo, which is supposed to be B2B one. So, but thankfully we got one prospect client to whom we spoke to, and we spoke at length. We spoke for at least 25 minutes, and he was sharing how he wanted to forward integrate from B2B to B2C. So he wanted to create an image with the consumer, very early with the consumer, so that when he enters into the B2C market, he should not be an alien name. So that's one of the reasons. One of the live examples.
Is one quote that is is and created like in our things about what is branding.
So branding is branding is no rocket science to start with, honestly. So we have got like these. Let's say we have got 3 different stages at which the brands are. Let's say a brand is a startup and a brand is in the middle of its brand cycle, and the brand is like about to sort of reinvent itself. Let's say diversify. So there are different sorts of strategy we apply for different sorts of brands. So because I work with different brands at different stages of their life cycle, so I can tell you that there are 3 core strategies. Basically, which I personally would suggest to some. I mean, it's no rocket science. Everybody would know that these sort of things would apply. So first strategy would be informative. Okay. Second would be reminder, and third would be persuasive. So when I say informative, so let me start with the cycle stage at which the brand is. So let's say if you're a startup, you will be requiring a more persuasive and then later on reminder approach. Because you want to penetrate the market. It also depends on the product or service that you're catering to the market, and also the size of the market. If you're a soft drink company in India who is going to launch, like let's say for example, Paperboard. Paperboard would have done a lot of market penetration through a lot of persuasive advertisement and a lot of targeted ad campaigns. Like drinks and memories, a tagline, it just sticks with you. So that's persuasive advertising. Now they're doing reminder ads. Now if you go to YouTube and check out some of the ads by Paperboard, they are reinforcing the brand values. They're actually reinforcing that brand connect with the people. So that is the combination, persuasive plus reminder. Now if you're in the middle somewhere, you will be more informative. You will try to connect with your audiences through let's say more of the market. I'm not able to kind of come up with an example right away, straight away. But towards the end of the spectrum, which is let's say reinventing yourself or diversifying. Let's say I'll take an example of Maruti Suzuki. I mean, they have recently diversified, or I would say extended their range of offerings to the market through Baleno and their other range of cars. So what are they effectively doing is they're trying to create a new segment for themselves. So so for the whole strategy changes. Now they're coming with Nexa. It's like a child brand, parent-child brand. So that also helps. So there are no basically set formulas for any branding. But yes, the approach has to be very focused. You should know your TG. You should know what you're trying to do with the brand. You should also have your myths clear in your mind. That as an entrepreneur, you should know that these are the things that branding is often perceived as. Like as Ravi said earlier, that people often think that the more you spend, the better the brand gets. But that's not true at all. So I'll be coming to that when we talk about the shoestring budget in thing. Okay, so let me give you some very good example of branding. So my friend of mine works with Indigo. So I happen to travel with Indigo a lot. The airline, I'm talking about the airline Indigo. So if you see their branding now, if you see right from the desk or right from the time when I booked the ticket. Now I'm talking about moments of truth here, because service industry is full of moments of truth. So if you talk about me, buying a ticket online, let's say Indigo's ticket. Now there you will see Indigo's branding, the color, the tagline, everything. Right from there till the time I board the flight at the airport, till the time the interaction with the crew members, and then coming out, then the bus that they have, Indigo bus. Everything. Then coming out to the other city, I'll also see their hoardings. And if I'm very lucky, I'll see the pillars and other things, branded with Indigo. Right. So that's called 360-degree branding. And that is basically not leaving any stone unturned. That's precisely the kind of branding that a company like Indigo would need, because if there is no other company that comes to my mind apart from Indigo that does such an extensive amount of marketing and branding, and they have backed their they have recently, I think, bought a fleet of around 200 to 50 odd flights
Odd
from
flights.
Paris Air Show, which is not recently, but it was I think 2011 or something like that.
Yeah, like
Right. So
almost recently.
right. So almost recently. Right. So all these things basically leads us to understand that you don't have to shell out. I mean, obviously, Indigo might have, they might have spent a lot of money doing that, but you don't have to shell out so much of money. But you can pick and choose the elements within branding, mix it in a way, that it allows you to, or it allows you to achieve your immediate goals in the market.
Exactly. And then they have spent a lot on marketing and advertising, and not that much on branding.
Absolutely.
Because branding is different. Branding is the soul of a brand.
Right.
And advertising is what you do with that brand.
Right. It's like a bow and arrow. I always give this analogy. So it's like branding is like making your arrow and your bow strong, sturdy, so that when you pull the strings and you shoot the arrow, it hits the target. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. And branding, if we go to the history of branding, it started in some 1500 BC.
Right, correct.
So when did it started? Yeah, what was the first branded thing? So it was cattles. At that time, farmers and shepherds had a lot of cattle, a lot of cows and buffaloes. So it always used to get mixed with other lot of cattle. So what they did is they they made a stamp out of a iron rod, and they heated it and stamped all of their cattle.
Right.
So in that way they branded their cattle that they are mine.
Right.
So they used to look at the backside of the cattle and immediately they used to.
Basically, when I was in Bath, I remember this because you might be knowing the famous actor Nicolas Cage. I don't know him, but I know him by face. I don't remember any of his movies though. So I happened to see one of the hammock, the villas that he made in Bath, near Bath somewhere. I don't remember the name exactly. The bus was going from there. So somebody told me that there's a unique incident that happens here. I said, what? He said, the people who make those villas, they make with thatch roofs. I mean, it's made of thatch roofs. So the artisans are so mindful of their art that they leave their impression on the roof. So that if anyone comes to see, they will know that this is the artist who's made it. So that is how branding is done at the microest of levels. When I talk about branding, that is the most micro level you can think of. Somebody making a house. How many of you, if you've designed your own house, will leave a mark and maybe start to do a business, maybe all of that. So that's just one of the examples. How branding can get you.
And so for branding, there are a few steps that you should follow. The first step, of course, we talked about it, is getting a logo.
Right.
So logo is the face of a brand. So again, that analogy of a person with brand. So logo is the face of that brand.
Right.
So first, getting a good face, a beautiful face that people would love to look at. So that is the first step for branding. Then the second thing, what we notice in a person is the way they speak. So it is mostly like the brand messaging, the character, the language, brand language. So second thing is, after creating a logo, we should create a brand language.
Right.
It may be very cool and casual. It may be very formal. So depend on the brand. It always depends on the brand.
Right.
What kind of language you want to give to your brand.
Right.
So again, then after the messaging is clear, so we can go with integrating your brand and creating a voice for your organization. That is the same thing, and develop a tagline. So tagline is very important. Tagline is very important because tagline is for positioning of your brand at a certain place, because logo can't speak everything, but tagline does it.
Right.
So tagline is very important. So getting a good tagline is again a very important thing. Then developing templates for everything. For your brand, you should develop templates for everything. Like you have a corporate identity, you have business card, you have envelope, you have posters. So just create a template.
Right.
So this way it has to go. So we were working with Vodafone. So we had a huge project with Vodafone. So while working, we had their brand guideline.
Right.
It was actually an honor to
Yeah.
look at Vodafone's
brand
guideline.
Right.
It was very detailed. It was immensely detailed. It was like you can't place a logo 1 pixel away from the certain place that it is entitled to be placed.
Right.
You can't even shift to one place, and people are so brand conscious in Vodafone and such organizations, such MNCs, that they will know.
Right.
They will know that you have done something mistake. The red color, the exact color is not there. You haven't reproduced that same color which we are using as a brand hero color.
Basically. So we also make a brand book. Cravants has this practice that we always do with clients. That, if you have a logo that we make sure that we make the client understand. That how is the character of the logo being built into the brand, and how is it going to accentuate your brand's presence in the market, and how is it going to help your brand reach the masses the way it reaches. Right. So brand book is something that we do, and honestly, it's only after seeing Vodafone's brand guidelines, it only reinforced
the concept. We do it very minutely. We focus on everything: where to place, where not to place.
Right.
How to create the messaging part. Then again, be consistent or uniform. So everything you do with your brand, be very consistent, because people remember only consistent things.
Right.
If you keep it changing, if there's haphazardness in something, people will forget it, and then branding won't be as successful as it should be.
Like for
so
example,
uniformity is very important.
For example, 2009 Tropicana.
Yeah.
That's one of the examples that we will look at.
Exactly.
So yeah, that was research done by my colleague, who works in the content department. She came up with this content, and she told me that there was something that happened with Tropicana, and I didn't know about this, honestly. So in 2009, they had done a blunder. When they placed they changed their logo identity, they changed the placement of their logo on the packaging, and people stopped recognizing Tropicana. Because somewhere people start to think that it's a counterfeit Tropicana. Because if the message and the posters behind the Tropicana didn't have any connection with the product. So it's very important, as Ravi said, that we should have that kind of uniformity in the brand.
So taking it forward, the most important question would be that being a startup or an entrepreneur with shoestring budget or bootstrapping, how can you brand yourself? So marketing needs money, advertising obviously needs money, but branding is something. It's like soul building of a person or a brand. It's like soul building. So it doesn't take money. It just takes good thoughts, the good way, uniformity, and a smart approach towards brand. So Prashant would like to.
See, in India, I would say there are a lot of venues where one can approach your concerned target audience without spending a lot of money on branding that way. Even though I will always say that we should always keep a certain amount of money aside for at least the logo and the website, if that is the part of your brand. Because those are two of the most important things. Website is like the face of your brand when you're not around, and people are searching about you. They'll be going to your website, so it's very important that you have a good website presence. So I'll tell you how sort of you can do you cut down on your budgets for a good branding. See, first of all, you have to understand that there has to be a little bit of guerrilla research. I always use this word because as owners or as entrepreneurs who have started in business, I think you might be already knowing about these, about the market and about the TG, but it's very important that you get on the ground and understand what exactly the TG is feeling about certain concept that's in your mind. So it's important to speak out to people in forums, in local forums, in local events. Maybe not events like Pragati Maidan, but then conferences. It's very important to interact with people and to basically get your idea tested, not only in your head, but with people that are with people that are in front of you. And honestly, sometimes people, the startups die out because the idea dies out in their own head. To be very honest, I mean,
they don't have a proper business plan.
They don't have a proper business plan, and then you enter into the market, you shell out all the money, and then I mean, again, the real estate industry is the best example. I mean, the one that is happening in Gurgaon and Noida at this point in time. I think I happened to learn it from one of my friends who's working with Tishman Spears, one of the biggest financial real estate consultant companies in the world. So, so coming to shoestring budget, so first thing is testing your idea basically, and to understand where your brand stands in front of as an idea with the people. Then co-sponsoring events, co-branding, affiliate marketing. These are terms that these are things that we should be doing. So co-branding would be something like, let's say, if you have a brand which is of a similar startup thing, and they're shelling out some money for marketing activity, or like road shows, or let's say like some event they are planning. What you can do is you can get on board, share the load, and when you do that, you basically divide the cost on ground, and and this should be all localized at a localized level. Because once you get the recognition within the local levels of the TG which you're targeting, then you can slowly make your way upwards. And to be very honest, at that time you will be doing a bit of product research, product testing also, or so to speak, service testing. Because when you get the samples out there, let's say if you have a product which is an FMCG product, if you get the samples, then you will come to know whether people really like your product or not. Then you can go back and revamp your product, and by the time you do that, I think you will be ready with the amount of money that is required for going with the bigger haul. And it's very important to also, the third point is very important to also to include digital marketing as a very important tool. Very important tool. I mean, we are speaking on a broader scope, by the way. We don't know actually where your business stands. We don't know individual businesses, and we don't know how many.
It's needed by everyone.
Actually, I mean,
let it be B2B, right. Let it be B2C, let it be a shop or anything. Everything needs that.
Everything needs that. But anyways, so digital marketing is one of the things. So even if you spend, let's say, 1,000 rupees as a paid budget, or let's say 500 rupees is the paid budget for your Facebook post or whatever, I think organic plus the paid thing works very well. You have to boost your post initially, reach out to the people, use the right hashtags, and content going on social. It depends on what kind of business you are actually in. I mean, you should have business relevant content going in. Which talks more about the services that you're offering to the people, so people become aware of. But there are a fair amount of strategy there also in digital marketing. So yes,
a lot of strategies go around.
Right. So these are some of the shoestring things you can do: co-branding, affiliate marketing, and co-promotional activities. These are a few of the things that comes to. It's a no-brainer basically. I mean, if it's come to think about it, I'm sure you guys must be already knowing about these things. But it's just that sort of it's good to sort of speak about it. Right.
So, in fact, we should also go for an article contribution on different forums, on magazines, or on different websites. We should contribute our articles, because that is where we get reach, where we get recognized by people, and our brand gets recognized by people.
Right.
So that is also a very important step in like bootstrap. If you're going for branding thing,
right? For example, let's talk about let's take a live example. I mean, there are a lot of fashion designers currently in India, few of them whom I also know. They have started their own businesses as e-commerce portals, fashion portals, and they have put their products up there. They are doing heavy amount of digital marketing, and they've got done fair amount of branding. I would say fair amount because. To be very honest, I don't believe in a 50-50 branding. Branding is either this way or nothing. So they have done a fair amount of branding, and because of which a lot of confusion has been created within the heads of the target audience. And honestly, they have not even defined the target audience. So what's happening is there are a lot of these designers who are there, and they're doing a lot of these because of shoestring. What they're doing is they're just making the website and uploading the pictures of their products, and thinking that the TG would come and buy when you do a bit of digital marketing. But that's not how. Yes, it doesn't work that way. You have to go out there. You have to. So this is where PR comes into the picture. So for fashion designers, a e-commerce portal with a good branding and a push from public relations helps build their brand. And I'm talking about these very small brands from starting from Gujarat. There are a few from Kolkata that I know, and a few from South India. One is a silk saree company. Not really. I wouldn't like to take the name though, but because I know them personally. So they basically what they do is upload the silk sarees there and they try to sell it online through local digital marketing campaigns. So, but well, I mean, there was one time when they got an order from somewhere in North India and they were not able to deliver. So that was a backlash. So we have to also understand that it's like a chain. So if
you promise something, you deliver.
Right. So it's a chain. So a strategy has, if you are starting localized, then you have to capture all the market within that region, then expand outwards. There are two kinds of branding is a big theory basically. So either you can go all out and then come inwards with your penetrative strategy, or you go like inwards to outwards basically. Like you start from a local area and then you go geographically expand. So you can either demographically target or you can either target through services, products. So you have to understand the basic USPs of your brand and then do it. So shoestring budget is a no-no for me anyway. So.
But still, it's a no-no obviously. But we can. People brand themselves. So I'll just give you a very layman's example or something that everyone around us will connect to. So do you remember when we were kids? So the ice cream vendor or someone used to come at our home or on the road where we live. So they have distinct style of ringing the bell, the bell or the horn they had. Right. So that used to directly tell us that we need ice cream. We want to eat that thing.
Right.
It was not. He was not shouting aloud, or he was not advertising himself anywhere that I'm the ice cream guy and I'm delivering it here. It was that bell.
Right.
It was tin, 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 and people used to run out of their home. That ice cream is there.
Right.
The cone is there. I should eat it up and everything. So I'll give you a live example of this time. This was going back in past, but I'll give you an example of this time. So there was an article I was reading about. It was about someone Ramesh. It really intrigued me. It really made me very anxious. Right. So I went through all the profiles and everything. I found him. It was very interesting. I'll just share it with you. So Ramesh, in Bangalore somewhere, he is a tea vendor. So he commutes by a bike, motorcycle, and he has a bag, and in that he has filters, he has cups.
Right.
So he has tea and coffee, basically for tea and coffee.
Right.
So he has branded in that local area itself. Like he goes to 2 or 3 sectors in that area. Mm-hmm. So he has branded himself very well in those sectors. How? We'll see. So the first thing was in that he understood his customer.
Right.
So he personally started knowing people. Like Prashant needs 1 teaspoon of sugar, or he needs strong coffee. So he was very smart in that. He is very smart in that. He is still running business, and it's going very fast.
Right.
So he remembers everyone by their face and their preference.
Right.
So if I'm the vendor, I know Prashant needs 1 teaspoon of sugar, or he needs strong coffee.
Right.
Someone there, he needs. He only drinks tea or something like that.
Right.
So it was very important. Understanding your customer is very important, and he pioneered that in small areas.
Right.
Then he was very good at maintaining relationships. So he was like he used to. He used to remember preferences. That's a different thing. But if Prashant and his friend, they both come to me for tea. So if someday Prashant is absent or he's absent, so it was that for that relationship's sake, he used to ask Prashant.
Right.
where is he?
Right.
He has not come. Any problem or something. So
Right.
that is personal connect. He gave
Right.
personal connect to his customers.
Right.
So in the end, it's all business.
Right.
But in business, there's a personal connect. So that brand is his personality. Ramesh is that personality that defines that brand. It's
Right.
not a brand, in fact.
It's not a
And
brand, it's a one-man show.
It's a one-man show, but the branding is very strong.
It is.
Because he doesn't have a logo. Nothing like Ramesh
Right.
and something, nothing, no logos. But his logo was a sound one, his
Right.
horn. So he enters the sector, he starts actually horning,
honking the horse.
honking in a definite pattern.
Right.
So people know that
Okay,
Ramesh
that
is
Ramesh
there.
Right.
So we will go and have tea and whatever. And so
we have got a lot of childhood memories that
exactly.
There are vendors who will come also, they used to play a certain sound. And we know that, okay, it's
Popcorn.
popcorn sellers have that song that plays.
Yeah.
Right.
They don't have a logo. They don't have face of that brand. But see, in the local, hyper-local
Scenario.
hyper-local scenario, it works. But when we go for more than hyper-local, where you can't reach every place yourself, so there we need logo, there we need a different kind of branding. But branding, in an essence, is the same thing.
Right.
So he understood time is money.
Right.
So the thing was that he used to give 15-20 minutes to a sector, not a minute more than that and not a minute less than that.
Right.
So the time was fixed. Like 11:25 he will come, he will blow up the horn, and 11:55 he will leave that place. So people knew that I have to be there before 11:55 to get the tea.
Right.
And the quality was obviously good, so people used to like that. And for saving time, he used to color code his flasks. Like for hot water, he had a red flask. For coffee, he had a blue flask.
So you should develop a language with
language. This was language. This was a brand language for him.
Right.
So for a cup, for coffee, there's a different cup. For tea, different cup.
Right.
And the pricing was very uniform and very transparent, basically.
Right.
So time, he valued time a lot. Then it came to predictability. So he was quite predictable.
Right.
That 11:25 is his time, so he will be here by hook or by crook.
Right.
So
And I'll also tell you how this Ramesh's example is different. What should entrepreneurs learn from the example that was just put in? That is very important to learn the habits and the customers around you. I mean the TG that you're catering to. So what Ramesh did was, without spending even that much of money, I think $50-100 maybe or nothing, he developed that connect. Right. Because his service offering, the way he offered the service was in such a way that everybody connected with him.
So that was his service brand.
Right. So coming to the larger picture, that why branding is so necessary. I think the real life scenario right now demands that every product, every brand that is there should have that distinct advantage or that differentiation that I always say, because there is too much of noise out there. Too much of noise out there, and there is no segment. There's always a segment that needs to be discovered. I always believe that. But whatever segment we know at this point in time is packed to the rafters. I mean, there is absolutely no space, or I would say, even if there is a space, it will be very challenging for a new person to enter and create a market space. So it's very important that you create that niche or that differentiation that's there, which will help you connect with your people through your product. But your product should have that quality, or your service should be something which is of the level that you think the TG will accept it for.
Exactly.
So it's very important that we have that differentiation.
And there should be predictability, like Ramesh.
Yes.
Because you see, people start waiting for at certain time, like at 11:25. If he was coming every day,
right.
So the next day I'll be waiting for him.
Right.
I'll be like, it's 11:20, and in 5 minutes I'll get it on.
Right.
And if for a day,
right.
2 days, 3 days, if I don't hear that on,
right.
it's gone out of my mind.
Right.
Because that is the advertisement they have. He had.
Right.
So predictability is very important. It's raining, it's very sunny. He is, in any case, he has to come. He has to deliver at that time. so that the loyalty of the customers and the consumers, the base that he has in those four sectors, that is not disturbed and that is well taken care of.
And there are also challenges, mind you, when it comes to even if you have done your branding and your company is on the growth, on an upsurge. It's important to understand that as an entrepreneur or as a person who is leading the brand, it's important to have a certain amount of control over the marketing and branding bit. Because what happened to Tropicana, what happened to I would say a bit with Flipkart, or in the middle of their journey. The expansion was huge. I mean, it's like Gurgaon city basically. I mean, I hate to take this example, but that's one thing that comes to my mind straight away. It exploded frantically. There was absolutely no planning like the way you see in Chandigarh or in other cities. It's a well-planned city. So your brand should have a very well-laid roadmap for at least 3 to 5 years. Wherein you know that okay, I will go a certain direction. Yes, we need to change according to the market scenario. But it's important that as the number of employees increase and as the departments increase in your company, it's very important that you have a certain amount of control over the marketing and branding bit. Because I would take an example of the organization that I was associated with, Harmony Golf. I think this is a very good example because they were actually promoting golf in a very different way. In the sense that they were making. So, what do you think when you hear about golf? You think that it's a very expensive sport. In India especially, people think that you have to pay lakhs and lakhs of rupees to get membership of a golf course. But what they did was they came down to a very shaft floor level sort of when they thought, okay, why don't we offer golf training for as low as 500 rupees or 1,000 rupees? I would say playing golf, asking the customers to play golf for just 500 rupees. Trainings would be somewhere around 2,000, 3,000 rupees. That's how cheap they had made the whole thing without compromising on the dignity, quality, or the importance of the grace of the game. Because golf is played in a certain graceful way, and it's pursued in a certain graceful way. It's very important to sort of maintain that grace. So without compromising the quality, and it's a beautiful 16-acre sprawl, and that's how they sort of branded themselves. So and the best part was that the owner or the people who were behind, I call them the three musketeers. They were always there with any strategy that was made for Harmony Golf. It doesn't matter how much of money you are sitting on, or whatever success you have had in your life. But it's very important that if it's a new business,
you have to put your soul in.
You have to put your soul, and you have to be there to dirty your shoes. For a little while, that's precisely what bootstrapping is. Right, bootstrapping is all about. So I think we should just think about how to start the branding journey and how to create the differentiation factor. And
like we'll sum it up here. So make your brand, take your brand as a person.
Right, true.
Like
emotions,
and infuse emotions, the language, the style, the way they talk, the way the brand works, the way the brand sells, everything.
Right.
Make it a person.
Absolutely.
This will help you, in fact, so that that person will connect to every other person out there. So because you know what kind of person you want to talk to.
Right.
So make your brand that way.
Right.
Make it that way, that accessible, make it that smart, make it that witty, make it that quick and everything, so that the purpose of branding is not defeated, and it's done in a very good manner, in fact.
Right.
And also, so for the last thing, that again, you should remember this thing, that branding is an art of selling things without telling things.
Also, that branding is not about it's shelling out X amount of money or whatever. It's more about basically getting the right kind of message to the right sort of people through the right set of strategies, and understanding where you are in the brand life cycle. So also, as rightfully mentioned by Ravi, I just forgot a point. I swear, this is very funny.
Branding is selling things without
taking things. Right. So that's precisely what it is.
It's about selling things without telling things. You grow capital. Telling is advertising and marketing.
Marketing, right.
But branding is not telling anything. It's a person, it's a persona of a brand that sells.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So,
I think we should we can
go for
contact us
Q&A
for
questions.
anything, right?
Yeah, Shashank, you are there? Shashank?
We can't hear you.
We can't hear you. This is not audible.
Okay. Wow, that was so perfect. Hello. Yeah, hello everyone. Wow, that was so
Yeah.
perfect. Last but not the least, Indian startup would like to thank to our speakers, Mr. Ravi Shekhar, Mr. Prashant Nair from Cravants Media Ltd. So we would like to we are sure that our participants have a lot to take from this. We look forward to collaborate again with you guys, Ravi and Prashant. That's all from my side. Thank you. Nice session.